Rain hammered the streets of Seattle like a relentless drumbeat, turning the asphalt into a slick mirror of gray skyscrapers and blurred neon signs. Harper Ellis gripped the wheel of her silver Audi, knuckles whitening as she swerved through the downpour, her wipers slashing futilely against the onslaught. At 32, she had built a life of precise blueprints and corner office deadlines, but tonight, every calculated line felt like a cage closing in. Her engagement ring, a cold platinum band from her fiancé Marcus, dug into her finger like an accusation. He was steady, reliable, the kind of man her conservative Irish-American family in Bellevue approved of with their Sunday roasts and golf outings. But as thunder cracked overhead, Harper's chest tightened with a whisper she had buried for years. What if steady was just another word for suffocating? She pulled into the lot of the Rusty Anchor, a dive bar tucked under the shadow of the Space Needle, its windows fogged with the breath of desperate souls seeking shelter. The engine ticked to silence and Harper sat there, rain pattering on the roof like impatient fingers. A sigh escaped her lips, heavy and ragged, carrying the faint scent of her vanilla latte spilled earlier in the chaos. She needed noise, distraction, anything to drown the echo of Marcus's voice on the phone, planning their wedding like it was a merger. Pushing open the door, she dashed across the puddle-strewn pavement, her heels clicking unevenly, coat flapping like a dark wing. Inside, the air hung thick with the tang of spilled whiskey and fried onions, jukebox crooning some forgotten Springsteen ballad about Thunder Roads. Harper shook water from her auburn curls, scanning the dim room for an empty stool. That's when she collided hard into a woman emerging from the crowd, camera strap swinging like a pendulum. Lenses clinked against Harper's elbow, and a cascade of dark curls tumbled free from a wool beanie, framing a face flushed with surprise. "Whoa, easy there," the woman said, her voice a warm drawl laced with Pacific Northwest gravel, steadying Harper with a hand on her arm. Up close she was striking. Hazel eyes flecked with gold, like autumn leaves caught in sunlight, and a smattering of freckles across her nose that spoke of endless hikes in the Cascades. Riley Novak, 28 and perpetually chasing light through her Leica, had ducked into the bar to escape the storm while scouting shots for her next exhibit. She smelled of fresh rain and darkroom chemicals, a mix that hit Harper like a forgotten dream. "Sorry," Harper muttered, heat rising in her cheeks as she righted herself, the touch lingering a beat too long on her sleeve. Their eyes locked, and for a split second the bar's clamor faded. The clink of glasses, the low hum of laughter, replaced by the thud of Harper's pulse in her ears. Riley's gaze held no judgment, only a spark of curiosity, like she was already framing Harper in her mind's viewfinder. "No harm done. Storm's got everyone running blind tonight." Riley flashed a crooked smile, revealing a dimple that softened the edge of her tattooed wrist, inked with a compass rose pointing true north. She tilted her head toward the bar. "Buy you a drink as penance? Or are you the type who flees collisions?" Harper hesitated, the weight of her ring suddenly heavier. She should say no, text Marcus, head home to their sterile condo in Capitol Hill. But the rain outside roared like a challenge, and Riley's easy warmth tugged at something raw inside her. "One drink," she said, the words slipping out before reason could reel them back. "Make it a whiskey neat." They claimed a corner booth, vinyl seats creaking under them as the jukebox shifted to a haunting cover of Hallelujah, Leonard Cohen's gravelly plea weaving through the haze. Riley slid the glasses over, ice clinking softly, and Harper took a sip, the burn blooming on her tongue like a secret unfurling. "So, collision survivor," Riley teased, leaning in, her knee brushing Harper's under the table, a accidental graze that sent a shiver up Harper's spine. "What brings an architect like you into a place like this? I can spot the blueprint types a mile away. That coat screams, I design skylines for a living." Harper blinked, caught off guard. "How'd you?" "Photographer's eye. Details are my vice." Riley's fingers traced the rim of her glass, callous from shutter clicks and endless edits. Born to check immigrants in Portland, she clawed her way through art school on scholarships and side gigs, her lens a shield against the ghosts of a family that still whispered prayers against her phase. That first love in college, tender, shattering, had left scars, but Riley chased beauty anyway, framing the world's broken edges in silver halide. They talked, words flowing like the whiskey, easy at first. Seattle's endless drizzle versus Portland's hipster breweries, the ache of creative blocks, the way fog muffled the city's pulse. Harper laughed. A real one, not the polite chuckle she reserved for client meetings, and it surprised her, the sound bubbling up like air from deep water. Riley watched her, head cocked, as if memorizing the curve of her smile. "You light up when you talk about your designs," Riley said softly, her voice dropping amid the bar's swell. "Like you're building more than buildings. Worlds, maybe." Harper's throat tightened, the compliment landing like sunlight on frost. She glanced at her ring, twisting it absently, the metal cool against her skin. Worlds that fit into boxes. That's the job. A pause heavy with the unsaid. Outside, lightning forked the sky, thunder rumbling like a distant confession. As the night deepened, the bar emptied, patrons stumbling into the easing rain. Riley pulled out her camera, impulsive. "One shot. For the story." Harper protested half-heartedly, but posed anyway. Chin tilted against the scarred wooden table, eyes shadowed yet alive. The shutter clicked once, twice. A soft whir that echoed in Harper's chest. In that frame Riley saw it. The quiet storm behind the poise, the hunger for something unbound. They stepped out together, the air cooler now, puddles reflecting fractured streetlights. Harper's car idled nearby, engine humming a farewell. "This was unexpected," she said, voice barely above the drip of eaves. Riley nodded, hands shoved in pockets, but her eyes held Harper's, warm and unwavering. "Unexpected's where the good stories start." A beat, then Riley added, "If you're ever in Portland, look me up. Riley Novak, chaser of light and bad decisions." Harper drove home through streets slick with memory, the whiskey's warmth fading but Riley's smile lingering like an afterimage. In her condo, Marcus slept soundly, oblivious, his snores a steady rhythm. She slipped into bed, the sheets crisp and impersonal, but sleep evaded her. Instead, she replayed the brush of knees, the click of the shutter, the way Riley's laugh had cut through the rain like a promise. For the first time in years, Harper wondered if fate wasn't a blueprint at all, but a chance collision, wild and uncharted. The next morning dawned gray, Seattle's famous overcast pressing down like a held breath. Harper's alarm buzzed at 6, pulling her from fragmented dreams of hazel eyes and compass tattoos. She showered, the steam carrying faint traces of last night's rain, and dressed in her armor. Tailored slacks, silk blouse, heels that clicked authority on the marble floors of Ellis and Associates. Her office overlooked Elliott Bay. Blueprints sprawled across her desk like veins of a half-formed city. But focus fractured. Her pencil hovered over elevations, sketching curves that mimicked the arch of a stranger's brow. By noon, her assistant buzzed in with coffee, black, no sugar, and a reminder. Dinner with Marcus and his venture capitalist father. "Make it quick," Harper said, waving her off, but her mind wandered to Portland, just a 3-hour drive south. Riley's card burned in her wallet, slipped there in the bar's haze. A matte stock with embossed lenses, her number scrawled in Sharpie below. She caved at lunch, fingers trembling as she texted, "Coffee sometime? If you're not chasing storms in Timbuktu." The reply came swift. "Saturday. Voodoo Donut?" Portland's sweeter side. A donut shop. Absurd, whimsical. Harper smiled despite herself, the knot in her chest loosening just a fraction. Saturday arrived with tentative sun, breaking through clouds like a hesitant invitation. Harper told Marcus it was a client meet in Tacoma, half-truth, all lie, and hit the interstate, windows down, wind whipping her hair into auburn chaos. The drive blurred. Evergreens blurring into strip malls, radio cycling indie folk that tugged at her resolve. Doubt crept in at the border, Oregon plates mocking her from afar. What was she doing, chasing a bar flirt across state lines? Voodoo Donut squatted on Davis Street, its pink facade a riot of graffiti and sugar-scented air. Riley waited outside, leaning against a muraled wall, camera slung low. She wore faded Levi's and a flannel shirt rolled to elbows, her curls tamed under a backward cap. Spotting Harper, her face split into that dimpled grin. "You made it. Thought you'd bail for blueprints." "Almost did," Harper admitted, Stepping close enough to catch the faint citrus of Riley's soap, they ordered bacon maple bars absurdly stacked with toppings, and wandered into the Pearl District, bites crumbling as they walked. Portland unfolded around them. Food carts steaming with Thai noodles, cyclists weaving past craft breweries, the Willamette River glinting like exposed silver. Conversation meandered deeper now. Riley shared tales of her first exhibit in a Soho loft, the thrill of strangers weeping over her prints of abandoned motels. Light finds the cracks, she said, licking sugar from her thumb. That's where the truth hides. Harper nodded, opening up about her firm's latest project. A eco-tower in Belltown, all glass and green roofs. But beneath she confessed the pressure. Family expectations, the ring that felt like a contract. Riley's gaze sharpened, not pitying but seeing. Sounds like you're designing someone else's skyline. They paused at a fountain, water trickling over mosaic tiles, and Riley snapped a candid, Harper mid-laugh, unguarded. The shutter's click felt intimate, a captured breath. As dusk fell, they climbed to the rooftop of a converted warehouse, city lights winking below like conspirators. Wine from a corner store in paper cups, the air cooling with the scent of distant rain. Harper's guard slipped further, words tumbling. The isolation of her engagement, the way Marcus's touch never sparked, only soothed. Riley listened, her hand finding Harper's on the ledge, fingers intertwining, warm and sure. No words, just the press of skin, the distant hum of traffic, Harper's heart pounding like bass in a hidden club. I shouldn't, Harper whispered, but didn't pull away. Riley's thumb traced her knuckles, gentle as a lens-adjusting focus. Shouldn't doesn't mean can't. Their foreheads touched, breaths mingling. Vanilla and citrus, whiskey ghosts. And in that suspended moment, the world narrowed to the soft part of Riley's lip, the flutter of lashes against cheek. The kiss came slow, inevitable. Lips brushing, tentative, then deepening with the hunger of withheld storms. Harper tasted salt and sweetness, Riley's hand cupping her jaw, tilting just so. A sigh escaped Harper, ragged and real, as hands roamed, fingers in curls, palms on waists, the city fading to a soundtrack of their quickening pulses. It was electric, uncharted, like stepping off a blueprint into freefall. They broke apart, gasping, foreheads pressed, laughter bubbling through the shock. Portland's full of surprises, Riley murmured, eyes dark with want. Harper nodded, dazed, the ring on her finger a sudden intruder. But for now, in the twilight hush, it was just them, two women, chance met, teetering on the edge of meant to be. Weeks blurred into a secret rhythm, Harper's life fracturing like light through a prism. Mornings in Seattle, coffee with Marcus, his merger talk droning as she nodded mechanically, her mind replaying the taste of Riley's mouth, the way her laugh vibrated against collarbones in stolen hotel rooms. Afternoons bent over drafting tables, lines sharpening into spires that echoed the arch of Riley's back. Evenings, excuses piled high, late client calls, architect emergencies. As she crossed the border, chasing the pull of hazel eyes and ink-scented sheets. Riley's world tilted too, her darkroom in a converted loft overlooking the Hawthorne Bridge now alive with Harper's shadow. Sketches pinned beside prints, a half-empty wine glass etched with fingerprints. At 28, Riley had sworn off entanglements after Lena, the college girlfriend whose ghost still lingered in faded Polaroids, her family's Bible-thumping disapproval a scar that itched in quiet moments. But Harper was different. Fierce in her vulnerability, her green eyes holding storms Riley wanted to weather. They met in liminal spaces, Motel off I-5 with neon buzzing like fireflies, or Riley's studio where the enlarger hummed, casting their silhouettes in crimson safe-light glow. One crisp October evening they drove the Oregon coast, windows down, salt wind whipping through as Bon Iver's falsetto wailed from the speakers. Harper's Audi hugged the cliffs, Pacific crashing below in frothy whitecaps, the air thick with brine and pine. Pull over, Riley said suddenly, pointing to a hidden cove where waves gnawed at basalt stacks. They parked, boots crunching gravel, and Harper spread a blanket from the trunk. Picnic haphazard. Cheese, crackers, a thermos of spiked cider. Seated cross-legged, knees touching, they watched the sun dip, painting the horizon in bruised purples. Riley leaned back on elbows, curls splayed on wool. Tell me something true, she prompted, voice soft against the surf's roar. Harper hesitated, cider warming her veins, the ring glinting mockingly in the fading light. I'm terrified, she admitted, words scraping out like gravel. Of what this means. Marcus. He's safe. My parents the firm they see a future. But with you it's like breathing after holding it too long. Riley's hand found hers, thumb stroking the band, a gentle challenge. Safe's a pretty cage, Harper. I've lived in one. Came out swinging but the bars leave marks. She rolled up her sleeve, tracing the compass tattoo. North arrow scarred faint from a drunken night post-breakup. Lena said I was too wild. Family said it was sin. But light doesn't apologize for bending. Harper's chest ached, empathy blooming hot. She leaned in, kissing the ink, lips lingering on pulse points that fluttered under her touch. Riley shivered, pulling her closer, their bodies aligning on the blanket, legs entwining, breath sinking to the tide's pull. Hands explored with reverence. Harper's fingers mapping the curve of Riley's hip, eliciting a gasp that mingled with gull cries. Riley's nails grazing Harper's spine, arching her like a bridge under construction. The world narrowed to textures. Coarse wool, smooth skin, the gritty sand creeping in sounds. Wet kisses, whispered names, the ocean's endless underscore. Climax built slow, deliberate like a long exposure shot. Harper atop, auburn spilling over Riley's collar, their rhythms cresting in tandem. Release came in waves, bodies shuddering, Harper's cry muffled against Riley's neck, tasting salt that wasn't just the sea. They lay tangled after, stars pricking the velvet sky. Harper's head on Riley's chest, heartbeat a lullaby. But dawn brought the fracture. Back in Portland, Riley's phone buzzed, her mother, voice tinny through the speaker. Exhibition deadline, Riley? Or another friend dragging you from church? The word friend twisted, laced with old venom. Riley hung up, jaw tight, but Harper saw the flinch, the way her shoulders curled inward. You're enough, Harper said fiercely, cupping Riley's face. More than. They made love again that morning, urgent now, against the loft's brick wall. Furniture forgotten, Riley's camera tumbling forgotten to the floor. But as Harper dressed, stealing glances at her reflection, lips swollen, marks blooming like accusations, doubt seated. Marcus's texts piled, miss you. Dinner with parents Friday? The future loomed, concrete as her designs. Their next meet was in Seattle, neutral ground. A gallery opening in Pioneer Square, air humming with wine pours and murmured critiques. Harper arrived late, slipping through crowds in a black sheath that hugged her frame, nerves electric. Riley waited by a Calder Mobile, suspended red curves spinning lazy, her emerald dress a nod to Harper's eyes, bold, unapologetic. You look like trouble, Harper breathed, close enough for Riley's scent to envelop her. Trouble's my middle name. Riley's wink hid the tremor in her voice. They wandered exhibits. Abstract nudes that evoked their hidden nights, cityscapes echoing Harper's work. In a shadowed alcove away from prying eyes, Riley pulled her into a kiss, fierce, claiming. Hands pinning wrists lightly to the wall, the mobile shadows dancing over them like complicit ghosts. Word spread, though, whispers from a mutual acquaintance, a photographer who'd spotted Harper's car at Riley's. By week's end, Marcus confronted her over steak at Canlis, the restaurant's view of the Sound mocking her turmoil. Who's the Portland contact? He asked, fork pausing midair, eyes narrowing behind his glasses. Harper's stomach dropped, the claret's tang souring. Client, she lied, but her voice cracked, the siren's wail from the bay underscoring the deceit. He bought it for now, but the seed festered. Harper drove to Riley's that night, rain sheeting the windshield, arriving soaked and unraveling. Riley opened the door in oversized sweats, concern etching her brow. What happened? Everything. Harper collapsed into her arms, sobs racking as they sank to the floor, linoleum cold against knees. Riley held her, rocking gently, murmurs of I've got you, blending with Harper's gasps. Vulnerability poured out. The lies, the fear of losing her family's nod. The firm's old boys network that whispered against distractions. Riley listened, then shared her own abyss. The night after Lena, whiskey bottle shattered on church steps. her father's voice thundering scripture like judgment. "We fight for this," Riley said finally, fierce as the storm outside. Together. They rose, shedding clothes in the hallway, bodies seeking solace. Harper's mouth on Riley's throat, drawing moans that echoed off exposed beams. Riley's legs wrapping Harper's waist, lifting her to the counter, thrusts deliberate, connecting. Pleasure crested sharp, cathartic, leaving them slumped, sweat slick and spent. Yet the high tide receded, leaving shells of reality. November crept in, leaves rotting underfoot, and Marcus proposed accelerating the wedding. Valentine's, he said, romantic. Harper's yes was ash on her tongue, but the date loomed like a guillotine. She confided in Riley over FaceTime, screen grainy. Riley's loft a warm blur behind her. "I can't lose you," Harper whispered, tears tracking silent. "You won't." Riley's resolve steadied her. "But you have to choose, Harper. Us or the cage." The call ended with "I love yous," first time spoken, fragile as frost. The breaking point shattered mid-month. Harper's mother called, voice syrup thick with concern. "Darling, Marcus mentioned a friend. We worry with the wedding." Subtext heavy. The family's Catholic roots, Bellevue brunches where whispers of that phase circled like vultures. Harper hung up, chest caving, and drove south unannounced, arriving at Riley's as twilight bled into night. Riley sensed the storm, pulling her inside without questions. They cooked. Pasta bubbling, garlic scent curling, but tension simmered. Over wine it boiled over. "Run away with me," Riley urged, eyes blazing. "My exhibit in New York, come. Start fresh." Harper recoiled, the fork clattering. "And what? Torch everything? My career, my life." Hurt flashed in Riley's face, raw as an underexposed negative. "This isn't a fling, Harper. It's us." The fight escalated, words sharp as shattered glass. Riley accusing Harper of half measures, Harper hurling fears of abandonment. A vase toppled, water pooling like tears, and Harper stormed out into the pelting rain, tires spinning gravel as she fled. Back in Seattle, regret gnawed. Days dragged, blueprints blurring through tears. Marcus noticed, pressing closer, dinner's intimate, touches obligatory. Harper fake smiles, but inside Riley's absence echoed. No texts, no shutter clicks in her dreams. Then the gallery invite. Riley's solo show, Portland. Harper stared at the card, pulse thundering. Choice crystallized, painful as bone break. She texted Marcus, "We need to talk." Then packed a bag, driving through darkness, wipers chanting resolve. The gallery thrummed, walls alive with Riley's vision. Storm-swept coasts, fractured urban lights, intimate portraits, one of Harper mid-kiss, eyes closed in bliss. Breath caught, tears pricking. Riley stood across the room, curls pinned elegant, dress black as midnight, but her posture rigid, gaze avoiding. Harper wove through admirers, heart slamming. "Riley." The name a plea. Riley turned, hazel hardening to flint. "You came to see this. Us." Harper gestured, voice breaking. "I chose wrong before. But not now." Crowd hushed around them, but the world shrank. Riley's walls cracked, hand trembling as it met Harper's. "Prove it." In the back alley, away from lights, they kissed, desperate, reclaiming. Mouths hungry, bodies pressing brick cold, hands fisting fabric. Gasps mingled with distant traffic, release swift and shattering, sealing vows unspoken. But dawn brought truth's edge. Marcus's call pierced the motel quiet. "Where are you?" Harper answered, steady. "Ending us." The words freed her, rings slipping off like shed skin. Winter gripped the northwest like a jealous lover, frost etching windows in crystalline webs, streets crunching under salted boots. Harper returned to Seattle a ghost in her own life. Resignation drafted, apartment half-packed. Marcus's bewildered silence a echo in empty rooms. At 32, dismantling a decade's architecture felt like toppling her own towers. Client emails deflected with vague, personal leaves. Her mother's voicemails pleading think of the family. Bellevue dinners canceled amid tears she couldn't explain. But freedom tasted sharp, like the first drag of forbidden smoke, terrifying, addictive. Riley waited in Portland, her loft a sanctuary of strung lights and drying prints. The fight's bruise lingered, but Harper's choice mended it slow. Mornings tangled in flannel sheets, coffee brewing to the sizzle of eggs. Afternoons where Riley posed Harper nude against sunlit walls, camera capturing the freckles Marcus never mapped, the curve of hip that sighed under touch. "You're my north," Riley whispered one dawn, lips on collarbone, fingers tracing the compass tattoo now shared in spirit. Harper arched, breath hitching, their lovemaking a ritual. Slow builds to fevered peaks, bodies learning languages of gasp and grip, the bed frame creaking like old film reels. Yet shadows crept. Riley's exhibit reviews glowed, Portland Mercury hailing her raw intimacy. But success amplified old wounds. Her father's letter arrived, postmarked Prague. Stern lines decrying her lifestyle. A check enclosed like pity bribe for straightening out. Riley crumpled it, but the crease lingered, doubt folding inward during quiet edits. "What if they never see me?" she confessed one night, head in Harper's lap, rain lashing pains like accusations. Harper stroked raven curls, voice fierce. "They don't get to define your light." She pulled Riley up, kissing away the tremor, lips soft, then insistent, hands sliding under tank tops to bare skin warmed by hearth glow. They moved to the rug, fire crackling, shadows dancing elongated. Riley straddling, grinding deliberate, Harper's nails digging thighs, moans rising in harmony with the storm. Climax shattered them, bodies quaking, Harper's name a chant on Riley's tongue. Emboldened, Harper pitched her own pivot. Freelance designs for sustainable co-ops, trading corner offices for coastal sketches. Her first client, a queer-owned winery in the Willamette Valley, sparked joy, vines twisting like veins in her elevations. "This is you," Riley said, framing a mock-up on the wall beside her prints. Their worlds converged. Joint exhibit planned for spring. Intersections. Blueprints meets photographs, chance colliding into destiny. But fate tested. Christmas loomed, a minefield of traditions. Harper's family insisted. Bellevue Manor aglow with wreaths, turkey aromas wafting from the kitchen where her mother, Siobhan, ruled with flower-dusted apron and rosary beads. "Bring Marcus," she urged, oblivious to the fracture. Harper's stomach knotted. Honesty felt like grenade pin pulled. Riley faced her own gauntlet. Portland relatives, Czech carols and Kolach pastries masking the undercurrent of disapproval. "Come with me," Harper begged over mulled wine, loft scented with cinnamon. "Face them as us." Riley paled, compass tattoo itching. "They'll crucify you." The Ellis Manor sprawled festive, driveway jammed with aunts' SUVs, laughter spilling from mullioned windows. Harper arrived alone at first, coat shedding snowflakes, cheeks flushed from the drive. Siobhan enveloped her in lavender hug, eyes scanning. "Where's the boy?" Harper swallowed, words sticking. "Mom, there's someone." "But it's Riley." Silence blanketed the foyer, then erupted. Questions sharp as ornaments, her father's face thunderous over eggnog. "A phase, Harper? Like that college nonsense." Uncle Pat muttered slurs under breath, aunties clucking pity. Harper stood rigid, green eyes blazing. "This isn't phase. It's me finally." The room spun, scents of pine and pie cloying, until a hand slipped into hers. Riley arrived unbidden, curls damp, dress simple green like evergreens. "I love your daughter," Riley said, voice steady amid the stares. "All of her, the architect, the fighter, the woman who sees cracks and builds bridges." Gasps rippled, but Siobhan faltered, rosary clicking. Harper's brother, Liam, nodded faint support from the stairs, his own quiet queerness a family secret. Dinner fractured. Silverware clinking tense, carols warbling from speakers like ironic serenade. Riley passed potatoes calm, but under table, her knee pressed Harper's, an anchor. Whispers buzzed. "Scandal for the firm." Harper's retort cut. "The firm's mine to rebuild. This us is home." They fled early, snow falling thick, car radio humming Joni Mitchell's River. Tears froze on Harper's lashes, but Riley wiped them, pulling over at a overlook where city lights twinkled distant. "You were brave," she murmured, leaning across console, kiss salt-tanged and tender. Hands roamed urgent, seat reclining, zippers yielding. bodies folding into confined heat, thrusts rhythmic against vinyl creak. Release came whispered, cathartic, snow-muffling cries like absolution. Portland's Christmas proved gentler. Riley's aunt, a holdout ally, baked pierogies and shared vodka toasts to chosen families. Harper charmed with tales of Irish sod, but the real gift was Riley's mother's absence, her choice a step toward mending. They rang in the new year on a rooftop bar, fireworks bursting over the river, champagne fizzing as they danced close, hips swaying to bass throb. To intersections, Harper toasted, lips brushing ear. Riley's reply, a kiss that deepened, public, unashamed, cheers blending with their shared breath. January thought tentative bridges. Harper's mother called hesitant. Coffee? Just us. At a Capitol Hill cafe, steam rising from lattes, Siobhan admitted fears, legacy loss, but glimpsed Harper's glow. She makes you shine, she conceded, hand patting awkward. Progress fragile as first bloom. Riley's father visited unannounced, prog coat heavy, eyes weary. Over pierogies in the loft, words stumbled. Regrets for silence, a halting, I see you now. Tears fell, hugs awkward, but the check returned. Unneeded, bridge mended. Yet climax brewed darker. Harper's ex-firm sued for breach. Poaching clients, a betrayal in suit's eyes. Stress mounted. Late nights pouring contracts, coffee bitter on tongue. Riley countered with art. Portraits of Harper at war table, fierce and frail. One evening exhaustion peaked. Harper snapped over a spilled inkwell, blueprints ruined. I can't, this is crumbling. Riley knelt, gathering sheets, voice low. We're not crumbling. Building. She rose, pulling Harper to the darkroom. Red light bathing them eerie. Developing a print together. Chemicals acrid, hands steadying each other. Image emerged, them entwined on the coast. Love etched indelible. Harper broke, sobs heaving, Riley holding tight. Let go, she urged, and they did. On the enlarger table, urgent and raw. Clothes shed hasty, Riley's mouth mapping tears to desire. Fingers delving deep, Harper's cries echoing in the crimson hush. Pleasure purged, leaving clarity. February's exhibit loomed, intersections at a Fremont warehouse. Walls white, spots hot. Crowds swelled. Critics, families tentative. Harper's designs hung beside Riley's shots. Synergy electric, chance woven into fate. Opening night, Harper in tailored vest, Riley in velvet shift, they mingled, hands clasped. Siobhan arrived, arm linked with Liam. Riley's aunt beamed, father absent but card sent. A reviewer cornered them. This series, your collision, it's palpable. How do you capture it? Harper glanced at Riley, smile secret. By letting it happen. Later, in the storage room amid crates, celebration ignited. Backs to canvas rolls, dresses hiked, mouths devouring quick, hungry thrusts chasing euphoria amid stacked frames. Laughter followed, breathless. Love's high unbreakable. But trial date neared. Firm's lawyers circling like crows. Marcus testified cold. Unstable. Distracted. Harper faced cross-exam, voice steel. Distracted by truth. Verdict favored her. Settlement slim but vindication sweet. Riley waited outside courthouse, camera clicking triumph. Harper emerging sunlit, free. Spring whispered green, cherry blossoms dusting streets. They bought a fixer in Selwood. Creaky Victorian, views of the river. Renovations began. Harper's hammer swinging. Riley's lens chronicling dust motes dancing. One afternoon, paint splattered, they paused on drop cloths. Brushes discarded, bodies joining in midday light. Slow, exploratory, Harper's tongue tracing Riley's tattoo. Eliciting shudders and pleas. Union deepening to soul song. Yet one shadow lingered. Riley's unspoken fear, commitment's cage, post-Lena. It surfaced in May, exhibits echo fading. A quiet dinner at home. What if we become safe? She voiced, fork tracing plate. Harper knelt. Ringbox simple wood. Platinum band etched with compass and skyline. Then we break the bars together. Proposal tear-streaked, yes gasped, lovemaking sealing it. On the dining table, candles guttering, bodies fervent. Riley atop, grinding eternal, Harper's hands anchoring hips, climaxes crashing like waves on their cove. Summer bloomed full, wedding small. Backyard under oaks, families mingled wary warm. Vows exchanged. I choose your storms, your light. Rings slipped on, simple, true. Dance followed, bare feet on grass, laughter free. Years folded like well-worn prints. Edges softening but colors vivid. By 36, Harper's firm, Ellis Intersections, thrived in a Fremont loft, sustainable designs dotting skylines from Vancouver to San Diego, each blueprint a testament to rebuilt lives. She mentored young architects, her auburn now streaked silver at temples, green eyes wiser, laugh lines etching stories. Mornings she woke to Riley's curls tickling her neck, the loft's bay window framing dawn over the Willamette. Coffee brewing, sketches sprawling beside half-edited proofs. Riley, at 32, chased light globally. National Geographic spreads on queer havens in Appalachia, TED Talks on framing fate. Her compass tattoo faded faint, but its pull held. North always Harper. Their home a gallery of captured moments. Wedding kiss grainy on fridge, kids' drawings pinned chaotic, adopted twins, Mia and Theo 4-year whirlwinds of questions and chaos. Motherhood reshaped them. Riley's patience honed in tantrum tempests, Harper's precision taming bedtime routines. Evenings blurred family. Theo's Lego towers critiqued architect style. Mia's finger paints developed in the darkroom, laughter echoing off brick. Challenges wove in unscripted. Mia's school bully spat freak family. Tiny fists clenching. Harper knelt, voice steady. Difference our superpower. Riley followed with photos, diverse couples through history, proof of woven threads. Siobhan, now grand with softened edges, baked scones for playdates, her rosary clicking softer prayers. Riley's father visited yearly, Prague tales for grandkids, his I see you evolved to hugs. A health scare tested deepest. Riley's diagnosis, early breast cancer, summer's heat mocking the chill. Scans hummed sterile, Harper's hand vice tight in waiting rooms, vanilla latte forgotten cold. We'll frame this too, Riley joked, dimple defiant, but nights cracked, Harper sobbing in arms, fear acrid as chemo's tang. Treatments blurred. Infusions dripping slow, Riley's curls shedding like autumn. Harper shaving her own in solidarity, mirror reflecting twin warriors. Vigil became vow renewed. Hospital gardens where they danced slow to phantom jukebox, lips brushing 4 lines. Home recovery's tangled gentle touches reverent. Fingers exploring scars like new maps, pleasure rediscovered tentative, then fierce. Remission rang bells, literal and not. Family picnic under oaks, twins shrieking joy, Siobhan toasting to unbreakable lines. Travel beckoned post-recovery. Road trip echoes of their start, Audi traded for a vintage camper, twins buckled in back. Coastline unspooled. Redwood whispers, Big Sur cliffs, stops at diners where pancakes stacked absurd. One night under Joshua tree stars, Riley pulled Harper from tent. Blanket spread, fire crackling low. Remember our cove? She murmured, hazel gold-flecked. Harper nodded, pulling her close. Kisses deepening, hands familiar yet electric, bodies joining earthbound. Slow rock sinking to coyote howls, climaxes quiet thunder, love's constancy etched in sweat and stardust. Back home legacy bloomed. Harper's TEDx. Designing destinies. Slides of their blueprints meet prints. Riley's book, Chance Exposures, forward by Harper. She saw me before I did. Twins grew, Mia's camera obsession mirroring mom's. Theo's block builds Harper's echo. Family a mosaic, chance shards fitted true. Anniversary 10th. Surprise from Riley. A rebuilt pier in Seattle, dawn light golden, their wedding spot. Harper arrived, twins giggling from hiding, Siobhan beaming distant. Riley waited, curls restored, dress echoing that first green. 10 years of collisions, she said, pulling a chain, rings linked, compass pendant. Harper's tears fell free, kiss salt sweet. And forever's meant. They danced on weathered boards, waves lapping him, family circling loose. Life script unwritten still, storms sure but weathered together. 2 women, chance met, love forged. Not perfect but profoundly, inevitably theirs. In the quiet after, as twilight deepened, Harper leaned into Riley, breath sinking to C's breath. What now? She whispered, half laugh. Riley's smile crooked, hand over heart. The next frame, wide open. And so they stepped, hand in hand into the haze, skyline blurring to promise fate's whisper eternal.